She told me my dad abandoned us. I hated him for 15 years. But then I found a box of letters. Letters. She hid from me. The truth? He never left. She lied. I was handcuffed in front of my neighbors while my mom screamed, "Please, officer, take him away before he hurts someone again." The words burned into my mind. I didn't hurt anyone. I was innocent. But that didn't matter, because my own family had already decided I was guilty. It all started 2 weeks before the arrest. My brother Ethan had been acting strange. He was always in trouble, skipping classes, hanging out with people twice his age, stealing small things from stores. But this time, it was different. He came home one night with blood on his shirt and eyes full of panic. I asked him what happened. He said, "Don't ask. Just trust me." The next morning, Mom looked terrified. There were police cars parked near our street. And Ethan, gone. When I asked where he was, she said, "He's staying with a friend. Don't tell anyone you saw him last night." Her tone was sharp, like a command. Something inside me twisted. I didn't know what was going on, but I could feel the weight of a secret pressing down on our house. 3 days later, detectives came to our door. They were investigating a robbery and assault at a nearby gas station. The description of the suspect made my stomach drop. It matched Ethan. And the weapon they said was used, a knife, like the one missing from our kitchen drawer. When the officers left, I begged Mom to tell them the truth. She turned to me slowly, eyes cold and wet. "You don't understand, Josh," she whispered. "He's my baby. He doesn't deserve prison. You're stronger. You can handle it." I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. That night, she planted Ethan's jacket in my closet. When the police came back the next day with a search warrant, everything was perfectly arranged. The jacket, the knife, even a wallet from the robbery victim, inside my backpack. It looked like I'd done it all. "Ma'am, did your son ever act violent?" one of the officers asked. Mom didn't even hesitate. She nodded. "He gets angry sometimes. He's unpredictable." Her voice cracked. Tears fell down her cheeks. Perfect tears. The kind people believe. I tried to speak, to scream, but my voice barely came out. They cuffed me before I could even process what was happening. As they pushed me into the police car, I saw Ethan peeking from behind our curtains. He looked terrified, but not enough to stop it. The holding cell smelled like sweat and metal. I sat there for hours replaying every second in my head. Why would my mom do this? Why would she destroy my life to protect his? When they finally questioned me, I told them everything. The blood, the missing knife, the way she told me not to say anything. But they already had evidence. And worse, my mom's written statement matched their timeline perfectly. They believed her. Days turned into weeks. I was charged with armed robbery and assault. At 19, I was facing years in prison. I called home from jail, desperate for her to pick up. When she finally did, I said, "Mom, please, tell them the truth. You know it wasn't me." Silence. Then a whisper. "You'll forgive me one day, Josh. I'm just protecting what's left of our family." Click. She hung up. I spent the next few days in shock, drifting between rage and heartbreak. Even Ethan didn't visit. The only person who did was my best friend, Samantha. She cried the whole time. "I know you didn't do it," she said. "I'll help you prove it." I didn't believe anyone could. But she did something that changed everything. She went through my mom's old phone, something the police never took. Inside, she found texts from Ethan. "They're looking for me. Please tell them Josh did it. He can handle it. You promised, Mom." She printed everything and brought it to my public defender. For a moment, I thought I'd be free. But the lawyer frowned. "The messages aren't enough," he said. "They'll say it's not proof your mom or brother wrote them, and your mom's testimony still stands. It was hopeless. Then, something happened I didn't expect. Ethan got caught. He was pulled over for speeding in another state, and inside the car, they found stolen jewelry from another robbery. It was the same pattern as before. Suddenly, the police realized they'd made a mistake. Or so I thought. When detectives came back, my mom was already prepared. She said Ethan stole the car and used her phone to fake texts. Again, she twisted everything to make herself look innocent. And because she was a grieving, terrified mother, they believed her again. I was still behind bars, waiting for a trial that seemed doomed before it began. Each day felt longer than the last. At night, I could hear other inmates screaming, crying, losing themselves. I wondered if I'd become one of them. Then, a letter arrived, from Ethan. It said, "I didn't mean for this to go this far. Mom made me promise to stay quiet. I thought she'd fix it, but now it's too late. Don't hate me." I tore the letter apart. Hate was the only thing I had left. When the trial began, Mom sat on the witness stand, calm, rehearsed, perfect. She spoke about my anger issues, my obsession with protecting Ethan, and how I snapped. Every word felt like another knife twisting in my chest. Samantha sat behind me, shaking her head in disbelief. She whispered, "She's lying, Josh. She's lying." I knew she was, but I couldn't prove it. The prosecutor painted me as a jealous older brother. The victim of the robbery even pointed at me and said, "That's him." I'd never even seen that man in my life. By the end of the week, it was over. The jury was ready to decide my fate. And that's when something snapped inside me. When the judge asked if I wanted to say anything before sentencing, I stood up. My voice shook, but it was loud enough for everyone to hear. "You all think you're doing the right thing, but the real criminal is sitting right there." I pointed straight at my mom. She lied to protect my brother. Check her messages, her search history, everything. You'll see she planned this. Gasps filled the courtroom. My mom's eyes widened, but she didn't say a word. The judge warned me to sit down. I did, but the damage was done. Later that night, as I waited in my cell, something unexpected happened. A new detective came to see me. He said quietly, "We reopened part of the case. Some evidence doesn't add up." My heart nearly stopped. He didn't say much more, but I could tell. Someone had finally started to doubt her story. And for the first time in months, I felt hope. But I didn't know yet how dark the truth really was, or how far my mom was willing to go to keep her secret safe. When Detective Harris told me they were reopening my case, I didn't believe him at first. I'd been sitting in that cold cell for 5 months, forgotten by everyone except Samantha. Hope was dangerous in a place like that. But the way he looked at me, calm, direct, made me think something had finally changed. "We went through your mom's phone," he said. "She deleted a lot of things. But our forensics team recovered fragments of old messages between her and your brother. I can't promise anything yet, but it looks like you were telling the truth." For a few seconds, I couldn't speak. I felt my chest tighten like I'd been holding my breath for months, and finally exhaled. He slid a photo across the table. It was a blurry screenshot of a deleted text. "It's done. Josh will take the blame. Nobody will question a mother protecting her son." My mom had written that. My whole body went cold. It wasn't just a lie anymore. It was betrayal, carved into pixels. A few days later, they transferred me back to the county jail for another hearing. I saw Samantha waiting outside the courtroom, her hands trembling but her eyes fierce. She mouthed, "They found it." Inside, the prosecutor looked furious. My mom sat at the witness stand again, but this time her confidence was gone. She avoided my eyes. The detective presented the recovered messages, the deleted photos, and even voice memos she'd sent to Ethan where she said, "They'll never suspect us if we play it right." The room went silent. The judge leaned forward. "Mrs. Walker, did you write these messages?" Mom's lips quivered. At first, she shook her head, but then her voice broke. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to protect my son." I whispered under my breath, "You mean your favorite son." She heard me. Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't feel sorry for her anymore. I was past that. The judge ordered an immediate review. Within a week, all charges against me were dropped. I was free. But freedom didn't feel the way I thought it would. When I walked out of the courthouse, I didn't feel peace. I felt hollow. Because even though the world now knew the truth, I'd lost everything: my family, my home, my faith and love. Ethan was arrested a week later. This time there was no escape. He was caught red-handed with stolen property and an illegal weapon. Mom tried to visit him, but the police found out she'd been helping him hide. She was charged with obstruction of justice and falsifying evidence. When I saw their mugshots online, I didn't feel revenge. I just stared for a long time, trying to understand how everything had fallen apart. People asked me if I'd visit her. I didn't know what to say. Part of me still wanted to hear her voice, to believe there was some reason, some twisted version of love behind everything she'd done. But I couldn't forgive her. Not yet. For months after, I couldn't sleep properly. I'd wake up sweating, hearing echoes of her voice saying, "You can handle it." Therapy helped a little. So did Samantha. She never left. She said, "You don't have to go through this alone." One evening, as we sat by the river, she asked, "Do you think she ever really loved you?" I didn't answer right away. "I think she loved control," I said. She loved the idea of being the mother who could fix anything, even if it meant breaking me to do it. Samantha looked at me, her eyes soft. "You deserved better." A few months later, I got a letter from prison. It was from Mom. I didn't want to open it. But I did. "Josh, I know you hate me. I hate myself, too. I thought I was protecting the family, but I destroyed it instead. I see Ethan every day. He doesn't speak to me. I hope one day you can forgive me, not for me, but for yourself. Love, Mom." I stared at that last word, love. It looked empty now. I folded the letter and threw it in the drawer. I didn't forgive her, but I didn't wish her pain either. I just stopped caring. 6 months passed. I got a job at a repair shop. Simple work, quiet days. But every time someone said, "Hey, Josh, how's your family?" I froze. What was I supposed to say? That my mom framed me, my brother's in prison, and I'm trying to remember how to be human again? No. I just said, "We don't talk much." Then something unexpected happened again. One afternoon, I got a call from a detective I didn't recognize. He said they'd uncovered more cases connected to Ethan robberies in 3 states. But what shocked me most was what he said next. "Your mom's cooperation helped us catch the rest of his crew. She's getting a reduced sentence." I didn't know how to feel. She was finally doing the right thing, but only after everything was already destroyed. A week later, she asked to see me. I walked into the visitation room. She looked smaller, weaker. Her hair had turned gray, her eyes tired. When she saw me, she smiled through tears. "Josh," her voice cracked. "I've been waiting for months to see you." I didn't say anything. I just sat down. "I know I can't undo what I did," she said softly. "I thought I was saving Ethan, but I was just saving my own guilt. You didn't deserve what I did to you." "Then why did you do it?" I asked. "Why me?" She took a deep breath. "Because you always survived everything. You were the strong one. Ethan would have fallen apart in prison. I told myself you could handle it, but I was wrong. You're not unbreakable, Josh. I broke you. For a moment, I couldn't look at her. I wanted to scream, to throw the chair, to make her feel what I felt. But all I could do was whisper, "You didn't break me. You just showed me who you really are." She started crying again. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know I'm sorry." I stood up. "Then live with it," I said quietly. And I walked away. Months turned into a year. Ethan was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Mom got 3 for her part in covering it up. I didn't attend the hearings. I didn't need to. But I did something else. I started recording my story, every detail, every lie, every scar. At first, it was just for therapy. Then Samantha said, "You should share it. People need to hear what manipulation looks like, especially when it comes from someone you trust." So I uploaded it online. Within days, thousands of people commented. Some said, "This sounds like my mom." Others said, "You're not alone." For the first time in years, I felt understood. One night, I got a letter again. This time, it was from Ethan. "I don't expect you to forgive me either. I thought Mom was right. But now I see what she did to both of us. I'm sorry for being a coward. When I get out, I want to start over. Maybe we can try to be brothers again. Not for her, just for us." I didn't know how to respond. Maybe I'd never respond. But part of me hoped he meant it. Because forgiveness, I realized, isn't about freeing them. It's about freeing yourself. A year later, Mom was released on parole. She never contacted me. But one morning, I saw a photo online. She was volunteering at a shelter, helping other mothers with troubled kids. It was strange. The woman who destroyed my life was now trying to save others. I don't know if that's redemption or just guilt. Maybe both. Samantha asked me once, "Do you ever miss her?" I thought about it. "Sometimes," I said, "but not the real her. I miss the version I thought she was." She nodded. "That's grief, Josh, not love." Now, whenever I look in the mirror, I see the scars, not physical ones, but the invisible ones. The ones that remind me trust can be the sharpest weapon. But I also see strength, because I survived something most people wouldn't. My mom taught me one thing: the truth always surfaces, no matter how deep someone buries it. And when it does, it either destroys you or sets you free. For me, it did both.